Alright. Shalom. First and foremost, we give all praise, honor, and glory to YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, RACWAA, QADASH. Double honors to the elders. Peace, salutation, blessing to all accumulating is true. Shalom, hopeful elect. I'll be there in a minute. I don't know where it's at. Tell Eli to call mom and ask her. Alright. Man. Alright, Salakia. Little Wednesday edifying lesson. This is Daniel chapter 12, verse 1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered. You know, you go into thy people, and you know, one of the outlines is kindred, kinsman. Everyone that shall be found written in the book, the book of life. I'll get Revelation chapter 12, verse 7. I'll hop back over here to Daniel. So this is Revelation chapter 12, verse 7. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon. Michael and the angels of the Lord, being in the holy chariot, the chariots of the Lord, fought against the dragon. Who's the dragon? Esau and his angels in their military, fighter jets and whatever else they have. And the dragon fought and his angels, Esau and his angels, and prevailed not. They're not going to prevail. Neither was their place found any more in heaven. Because right now, the earth is beginning to handle the wicked. They're set on high. So they're dwelling in heaven in a symbolic sense, because they're on high. The elite of this earth, the devils that run this earth, they're on high right now. This is verse 9. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent, called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. Going into, Esau and his military, his angels. This is verse 10. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now has come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our power, YAHAWAH, and the power of his anointed, YAHAWASHI. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our power day and night. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb, YAHAWASHI, and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto death. Once you get this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, and the Lord's dealing with you, then you start to if you ain't blinded, if the Lord open up your spiritual eye to see, we're breaking away from this world. And most brothers, and myself, we never really been a part of this world, man. But back to Daniel chapter 12, verse 2. And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. And they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament. And they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. And that's, preaching this truth, bringing out, these holy scriptures in truth and sincerity. That's the goal, turn many to righteousness, correct the path. Because before we come into this truth, we're just lost sheep. We're in the dark. Once you come into this light, you're washed by this word. But this word's like a double-edged sword. Hebrews Slocky. Hebrews 4 verse 12, I think. Hebrews chapter 4 verse 12. For the word of the Most High is quick and powerful and sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing even to the dividing asunder of soul and spirit, and of the joints and marrow, and is a discerner of the thoughts and intents of the heart. Verse 13, neither is there any creature that is not manifest in his sight, but all things are naked and opened unto the eyes of him with whom we have to do. Verse 14, seeing then that we have a great high priest that is passed into the heavens, YAHAWASHI, what the world ignorantly calls Jesus, the Son of the Most High, YAHAWAH, let us hold fast our profession. I'm going to read on through to 16. For we have not an high priest which cannot be touched with the feeling of our infirmities, but was in all points tempted like as we are, yet without sin. YAHAWASHI, he was tempted. You think about when he went into a wilderness, he was on a 40-day fast. Satan come and tempted him heavy. And how he cut Satan with the scripture. Anytime Satan try to say something, he just cut him, He said, turn that rock into bread. And, roughly paraphrasing, for it is written, we don't live off bread alone, but rather this bread of life, these holy scriptures, roughly paraphrasing. Let 16, let us therefore come boldly unto the throne of grace, that we may obtain mercy and find grace to help in time of need. These end time prophecies, it's going to be a time of need. You're going to need to have this wisdom and knowledge. You're going to need to have, the mercy of the Lord. YAHAWASHI. You're going to need to have faith. Faith is what it's going to take to, you don't want to be, like those of little faith, when YAHAWASHI healed heal the cleanse the person of the demons. I think it was legion or many demons, if I ain't mistaken. I ain't trying to get off topic here, but this is verse 4. But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. So there's a lot of signs that we're at the end. Matthew 24. Second Ezra 15 and 16. Jeremiah. Revelations. But it says, many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. And you think about the progress that this world has made in technology, in warfare, in Salakia. Salakia. So you think about, on a carnal aspect, the Lord has opened up the minds, the minds of the devils, the minds of, us spiritually, because this book is being opened. Brothers, GMS and like-minded brothers are breaking these prophecies down, linking up, the tribes with the tribes, Israel, and just totally revealing, condemning these devils, man. And that what does it say? It says, and knowledge shall be increased. And what? Shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. This book has been sealed until the time of the end. Verse 5, then I, Daniel, looked, and behold, there stood other two, the one on this side of the bank of the river, and the other on that side of the bank of the river. And one said to the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, how long shall it be to the end of these wonders? And I heard the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, when he held up his right hand and his left hand unto heaven, and swear by him that liveth forever, that it shall be for a time, times, and an half, when he shall have accomplished to scatter the power of the holy people, all these things shall be finished. In verse 8, and I heard, but I understood not. Then said I, O my Lord, what shall be the end of these things? And he said, go thy way, Daniel, for the words are closed up and sealed till the time of the end. Verse 10, many shall be purified and made white and tried, but the wicked shall do wickedly. And none of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand. The wise shall understand. None of the wicked will understand. Verse 11, and from the time that the daily sacrifices shall be taken away, and the abomination that maketh desolate set up, there shall be 1,290 days. Verse 12, blessed is he that waiteth and cometh to the 1,335 days. But go thy way till the end be, for thou shalt rest and stand in thy lot at the end of the days. So, well, that's saying right there, Daniel, being a prophet, many years ago, what do you say, over 2,000 years ago. What is it saying? It's saying he's gonna rest. That means he's going lay to rest in that time and stand in thy lot at the end of thy days, meaning he's going to be resurrected through his spirits on this earth. The end times, the prophets are old, they're here now, they're in the lot. And it says right here, Daniel's going to stand in thy lot at the end of thy days. Daniel don't know who he is. All the other prophets, they don't know who they are. You know what I mean? Just think about that, man. Daniel chapter 12, verse 13. Whoo! But getting to some more points here. So now we're gonna go back in Genesis chapter 27, verse 22. So we get some understanding here. 27 verse 22. And Jacob went near unto Isaac his father, and he felt him, and said, The voice is Jacob's voice, but the hands are hands of Esau. If you read up in that chapter, Jacob supplanted Esau because Esau traded his blessing for a morsel of meat. And you read about Esau come out hairy and red. So, reading on, the voice is Jacob's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau because he put fur on his hands. Jacob, to his father Isaac at the time was old, he couldn't see. Verse 23, and he discerned him not because his hands were hairy as his brother's Esau's hands, so he blessed him. Isaac, brothers GMS, he is YAHAWASHI, before YAHAWASHI, just like if you can perceive it, Adam was YAHAWASHI, Same thing with King Solomon, if I ain't mistaken. But going on, because Isaac had the power given to him from the Lord Yahweh to be able to bless his sons. And we're going to get into that. So it's not just some guy named Isaac, you know what I mean? He had this, the Lord is dealing with him. And there's a reason. Because it's the same bloodline all the way from the beginning. Adam to Cain and Abel. Cain took out Abel. So what? They had Seth. Seth was the righteous seed. Cain was the wicked seed. Okay? It went up all the way through all the way up to Isaac, Abraham, Isaac. And what happened, so after Seth, the righteous seed, went through Noah, and we know what happened. Noah, the 8th person, was saved, Noah and his family, and rest of the wicked seed was destroyed. This is talking about the genealogy from Cain and Seth. Okay? Noah's from the Seth side, the righteous seed. Cain and his offspring were the wicked seed. So back to Genesis 27, verse 24. And he said, "Art thou my very son Esau?" Talking to Jacob. Isaac talking to Jacob. And he said, "I am." Because again, Esau traded his birthright for a morsel of meat. He was carnal, very carnal, obviously. He wasn't worried about, the spiritual, aspect of when his father died. Who's gonna get the blessing. But anyway, Esau was the firstborn. He was supposed to get the blessing, but again, this is how it went down. Verse 25, and he said, "Bring it near to me, and I'll eat of my son's venison, that my soul may bless thee, that my soul may bless thee." And he brought it near to him, and he did eat, and he brought him wine, and he drank. Verse 26, and his father Isaac said unto him, "Come near now, and kiss me, my son." And he came near and kissed him, and he smelled the smell of his raiment, and blessed him, and said, "See, the smell of my son is the smell of a field which the Lord hath blessed." Verse 28, "Therefore the Most High give thee of the dew of heaven, and the fatness of the earth, and plenty of corn and wine." Verse 29, "Let people serve thee, and nations bow down to thee. Be Lord over thy brethren, and let thy mother's sons bow down to thee. Cursed be every one that curseth thee, and blessed be he that blesseth thee." And it came to pass, as soon as Isaac had made an end of blessing Jacob, and Jacob was yet scarce going out from the presence of Isaac his father, that Esau his brother came in from hunting. And he also had made savory meat, and brought it unto his father. And he said unto his father, let my father arise, and eat of his son's venison, that thy soul may bless me. And Isaac his father said unto him, Who art thou? And he said, I am thy son, thy firstborn, Esau. And Isaac trembled very exceedingly, and said, Who? Where is he that taken venison, and brought it me? And I have eaten all before thou camest, and have blessed him. Yeah, and he shall be blessed. So the blessing was with Jacob. And this, and what he's saying, and he shall be blessed. But this is the way the Lord, Yahawah wanted it. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, the Lord, Yahawah BAHASHAM, man, Isaiah 45:7, Deuteronomy 39:32, 39:32, Slakia 32:39. Hey, Slakia. Yeah, Deuteronomy 32, verse 39. See now that I, even I, am He. This is Yahawah, and there is no God with me. I kill and I make alive. I wound and I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand. And Isaiah 45:7, another precept on that. Isaiah 45, start verse 5. I am the Lord, YAHAWAH, YAHAWASHI, and there is none else. There is no power beside me. I girded thee. Though thou hast not known me. Verse 6, that they may know from the rising of the sun and from the west that there is none beside me. I am the Lord, YAHAWAH, and there is none else. Verse 7, I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, Lord, do all these things. So the Lord does everything. He's in control of everything. So back to Genesis chapter 27, verse 34. And when Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with a great and exceeding bitter cry, and said unto his father, Bless me, even me also, O my father. And he said, Thy brother came with subtlety, and had taken away thy blessing. Jacob came with subtlety, and had taken away thy blessing. But again, Esau traded his blessing. So it is what it is. And verse 35, and he said, I'm gonna read it again, then get next verse. Thy brother came with subtlety and had taken away thy blessing. And he said, Is not he rightly named Jacob? For he has supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright. And behold, now he hath taken away my blessing. And he said, Hast thou not reserved a blessing for me? Verse 37, and Isaac answered and said unto Esau, Behold, I have made him thy Lord. Talking about Jacob. And all his brethren have I given to him for servants. And with corn and wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do now unto thee, my son? And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth and of the dew of heaven from above. And this is the point right here in verse 40, or a key point. And by the sword shalt thou live, and by the sword shalt thou live, and shall serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. So, once Esau, gained dominion, the fatness of the earth, he's gonna break that yoke off his neck. And verse 41, and Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, The days of mourning for my father are at hand, then I will slay my brother Jacob. And that's been going on since the beginning. Since Cain and Abel, really. Since the beginning of time. Let me get this verse precept real quick. Ezekiel Chapter 35, verse 5. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel, which I'll get that too. Jacob wrestled with the angel, and the angel said, You will no more be called Jacob, but Israel. So I'm going to get that. Just bear with me. This is Ezekiel chapter 35, verse 5. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and has shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword. And a sword, modern day sword, gun. The sword just a killing instrument. Don't even to this day, these Edomites are still slaying the children of Israel with the sword. And again, it's judgment under the sun. Roughly paraphrasing. Whoever perished being innocent. Roughly paraphrasing. The sword and has shed. I'm gonna start over. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and has shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. Verse 6. Therefore, as I live, said the Lord, the Most High, YAHAWAH, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Sith thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. Verse 7. Thus will I make Mount Seir most desolate, and cut off from it him that passeth out, and him that returneth. Let's see. I think I might as well just keep reading all the way down to 15. Where was I? So Ezekiel 35 verse 7. You go into Seir, the word Seir, Mount Seir. It goes into it says patriarch of the Horites, the inhabitants of Edom, before the descendants of Esau, the Edomites. Mount Seir was the inhabitants of Edom, the descendants of Esau, the Edomites. Okay? So that's what he's talking about. He's going to make the Edomites desolate and cut off from it him that passeth out and him that returneth. Just for time's sake, you read, Ezekiel 35. You read all the way down to the verse, the whole chapter really, but 15 verses here. But I'm gonna drop down to verse 14. Thus said the Lord YAHAWAH, when the whole earth rejoiceth, I will make thee desolate, as thou didst rejoice at the inheritance of the house of Israel, because it was desolate, so will I do unto thee. Thou shalt be desolate, O Mount Seir, and all of Idumea. You go into that word Idumea, means Edom, Edomite, Idumean, descendants of Esau, land of Edom. And what is Salakia? What does Edom stand for? Red. These so-called white people, without in the sun too long, they lack in pigmentation. They burn, they turn red. But again, there's going to be Israel scattered throughout all the nations. That's one of the prophecies, in Daniel. Back to Daniel 12 real quick. See if I can find it. All right, verse 7. Daniel chapter 12, verse 7. And I heard the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, when he held up his right hand and his left hand unto heaven, and swear by him that liveth forever, that it shall be for a time, times and a half, and when he shall have accomplished to scatter the power of the holy people, all these things shall be finished. So, and there's numerous other verses. You think King David, that's that lineage, same lineage all the way through. King David has 700 wives, 300 concubines. What King David do when they go and slay the other heathen nations? They take their wives, they take their concubines, kill off the husbands, and take their concubines, because it was war. That's what you do. Yahweh was a man of war, roughly paraphrasing. So you're gonna have, Israelites looking like every other nation, and also you're gonna have, the wheat and the tares, but that's some deep stuff. But brothers, Romans 8 verse 16, spirit beareth witness. If spirit beareth witness, the Lord bless, the Lord bless some brothers with spiritual discernment, and that's what it is. Can't what John chapter 8 verse 44. If you go around hating all white people, because there you think they're Esau and there's Israelites within, then you're gonna end up hating some of your brothers. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, Jacob and Esau were brothers, so we know that Esau is a perpetual hatred toward Jacob, and we know how these devils in power. Hey, go in there, shut the door. These devils in power, like to just destroy people, their heritage, steal their land, and lie about it, obviously. And how was this country, Babylon the Great America, founded? Exactly like that. How was it built? Deuteronomy 28:68. 28:68. I might be off on that. Let's see. Deuteronomy 28:68. This is judgment by Yahweh. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. How did the tribe of Judah get over here from Africa after they flee from Egypt to Africa, which was the wilderness? How did they get from Africa to America, to Babylon the Great, to spiritual Sodom and Egypt? By ships. And what was the name of that ship? Something Jesus, wasn't it? Anyways, Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, which America, modern day Egypt. They didn't know America was named America back in the day when they made these prophecies. It was like Egypt. Like it was like a Babylon. When John had that vision, he marveled at the woman, at Babylon, at all this. He's seen it. He's seen the MOB, And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more. I'm talking about the homeland. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you, no man shall redeem you. You're going to that word buy, redeem. So that's another cut on the 1948ers. says, they shall see it no more. You know, you probably have, you know, some scattered, you know, Israelites that, you know, might reside over there. You know, you had the some groups, I guess, that moved, you know, to land of Israel. But, you know, you see what happened. You know, they kicking them out. You know, but for the big chunk of Israel is right here in Babylon. You know, you got all your tribes over here. So that was for going off. You know, that all throughout, you know, Israel, stiff-necked people, they don't hearken to the Lord. He put us through punishment. He put us through judgment. You know, we're serving judgment under the sun. But yeah, so you have Israel, they're gonna be scattered, looking like other nations. So you can't be going around. I mean, like I say, try spirit by spirit. You know, how would brother feel if, you know, a brother like me or another, leprosy, you know, pale skin Israelite, you know, come up to one of these other camps, and they sitting there, you know, trying to cut every whitey they see because they think they're all Esau. They're trying, oh brother, every you know, every man of color come by, they're like, hey brother, hey king, you know what I mean? And you gotta have some spiritual discernment. A lot of these camps just, you know, in it for you know, filthy lucre and clout, you know, and a lot of it's just folly. You know, everybody like to see the white man get cut up. Even me, you know, I like to see these preppy ass little rich, you know, punks, you know, with daddy and mommy's money, you know, going to college, never had a used car. I like to see these motherfuckers getting cut up, you know, for how they treat their brother, you know. Let's say John chapter 8 verse 44. John chapter 8 verse 44. God damn! Salakia. God damn! They shut that fucking door. Trevor, leave it alone. Go in there. See what I mean? Salakia. John chapter 8 verse 44. God damn. Fuck. That's not the one I want, Salakia, but that's another one, you know. For they are their father, the devil. You know, I'm going to read YAHAWASHI speaking. John chapter 8, verse 44. Ye are of your father, the devil, and the lust of your father you will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. Now, the verse I was wanting to get was, how can you say you love the Most High, but you hate your brother? So I can find that. First John chapter 4, verse 20. If a man say, I love the Most High, and hated his brother, he is a liar. For he that loveth not his brother, whom he has seen, how can he love the Most High, whom he had not seen? So that's a that's a cut on, you know, these plantation Christians that go into let's see, I think that might be in the same chapter. Yeah, 1 John chapter 4, verse 2. Hereby know ye the Spirit of the Most High, every spirit that confesseth that YAHAWASHI Mashiach, so-called Jesus Christ, is come in the flesh, is of God, is of the Most High. But you read on down in that chapter, and it says, if you hate your brother, how can you love the Most High? See, these Christians, they don't they don't get it, man. They don't get it. You tell me you're a racist ass cracker. You hate people of color, but you think God love you because you say, well, I believe this, I believe 1 John 4, verse 2. I confessed it. Well, read on down to verse 20. Hey, but 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 4. 4, verse 3. If our gospel be hid, it is hid to them whom are lost. Roughly paraphrasing. You know, who the God of this world, lowercase g, the God of this world have blinded them. Because again, the earth is given to the hand of the wicked. Job 9:24. Earth is given to the hand of the wicked. Punishment for, and it goes back to the parable of the let me see I can't think of it right now. The parable of a little bit. I'll think of it in a second. You know, the parable says, is it it's a lot if I'm all over the place right now. I kind of fell off this, kind of got off my lesson here, but here it is. 2 Ezra chapter 7, verse 6. Well, there is also another thing. A city is builded and set upon a broad field, and is full of all good things. Verse 7, the entrance thereof is narrow, and is set in a dangerous place to fall. This is a dangerous place to fall. You know? Like as if there were a fire on the right hand, and on the left a deep water. Verse 8, and one only path between them both, even between the fire and the water, so small, there could but one man go at once. Verse 9, if this city now were given unto a man for inheritance, if he should never pass the danger set before it, how shall he receive inheritance? We know what the inheritance is. You know, Lord, when we that number, inheritance, the kingdom, you know, immortality. You know, there's going to be 144,000 kings of this earth, you know, who are going to rule in righteousness with the law, with the laws written in our inward parts. You know what, roughly paraphrasing, when the righteous are in rule, the people rejoice. When the wicked are in rule, the people mourn. Look around, the earth's getting to the hand of wicked. What are people doing? They're mourning. Unless you're one of these elites, you know, the 1%ers, unless you're one of them, you know, 1948ers, one of them, you know, bankers, you know what I mean? And if you're not, if you're of the world accepts you as its own, roughly paraphrasing. You see these people out here in this world who get accepted, That's because, obviously they are of the world. What the world hated, what really paraphrasing, the world hated, it hated me first. YAHAWASHI speaking on both those. This is, the city was, verse 9, 2 Ezra chapter 7, verse 9, the city now are given unto a man for inheritance. If he shall never pass the danger set before it, how shall he receive this inheritance? Verse 10, and I said, is it so, Lord? Then said he unto me, the Lord spoke unto him, even so also is Israel's portion. Now remind me, back to that point of Jacob, his name being changed to Israel. This is Genesis chapter 32, verse 28. And he said, thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel. For as a prince hast thou power with the Most High and with men, and hast prevailed. Yashar'Allah, Israel. Yashar'Allah means prince of the power. But this is Esau's time. This is the wicked's time. Because we're all in punishment. Lord willing, we have that number. You know what I mean? We're serving out our punishment. I think that point's made on that. So, 2 Ezra chapter 6 verse 9. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob, Israel, is the beginning of it that followeth. 2 Ezra chapter 6 verse 9 is in the Apocrypha. If you're reading out of, just you have to have 1611, or you have to have a book that has Old, New, and Apocrypha in order to get that. I didn't know about the Apocrypha until I come into the truth. Back in September of 2020. Whoo! The spirit quicketh. That was roughly paraphrasing. It's the spirit that quicketh. Was that Hebrew? I know I got Hebrews. Did I get Hebrews 4 and 12? It's John chapter 6 verse 63. YAHAWASHI speaking. It is the spirit that quickeneth. The flesh profiteth nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life. These words are spirit and they are life. First, this is another point on Adam. 1 Corinthians chapter 15 verse 45. And so is written, the first man, Adam, was made a living soul. He was already a living man, but he was made a living soul. It says, Salakia, I'm going to read that again. 1 Corinthians chapter 15 verse 45. I thought that was, the verse where it's talking about the Lord put that breath in him, but it's not that verse. So, Salakia. And so it is written, the first man, Adam, was made a living soul. The last Adam was made a quickening spirit. Again, that's nerve, the spirit on me right now to say this. Brothers rebuke me if I'm off, but that's another verse where you can link up, Adam being that first spirit, was the first spirit created, YAHAWASHI, but Adam being that first spirit, and, the last YAHAWASHI was so-called Jesus, the one they crucified, YAHAWASHI, and what it says, sitting down his comforter. And that's why the last Adam was made a quickening spirit. So that spirit is dwelling on this earth right now, through the brotherhood, through the believers of the truth of this doctrine and truth and sincerity. Not everybody gonna get it, man. That's what it is. But I'm gonna get that again. I don't know if I got it on this, but if I did, Slakia, bear with me. I'm gonna get it again. Hebrews chapter 4, verse 12. For the word of the Most High is quick and powerful and sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing even to the dividing asunder of soul and spirit, and of the joints and marrow, and is a discerner of the thoughts and intents of the heart. The Spirit discerns your heart, your mind, your lob. You go into that Greek word, it's lob. Heart, lob. Well, this one it says cardia, but we know it's talking about it's not talking about your actual heart. Your heart pumps blood. It's an organ, just like a lung. It's like saying, I love you with all my lung. People have heart transplants. People have lung transplants. Have you heard anyone having a brain transplant? You know what I mean? It's a Salakia, but man. Here's another. I already had this wrote down, but just looking at it right now, so I'm gonna get it. 2nd Ezra chapter 3, verse 31. I should start at 30. For I have seen how thou sufferest them sinning, and hast spared wicked doers. Suffering Israel for their sinning, for their going off. And he spared the sinners, the wicked. He's sparing them. There's reason. Because the promise is given to Israel. And has spared the wicked doers, and has destroyed thy people, his people, Israel, and has preserved thine enemies. Who's the enemy? Esau, Edom, the wicked. He preserved them. He destroyed his people. Reading again, verse 30. For I have seen how thou sufferest them sinning, and hast spared wicked doers. Sufferest them sinning, Israel. Spared wicked doers, the wicked. And has destroyed thy people, Israel. And has preserved thy enemies, the wicked. And has not signified it. Verse 31. I do not remember how this way may be left. Are they then of Babylon better than they of Zion? Or is there any other people that knoweth thee besides Israel? Is there any other people that know YAHAWAH, YAHAWASHI, besides Israel? Besides Israel? Who knows the Lord? Who really knows the Lord? YAHAWAH. Who knows YAHAWASHI besides Israel? Or what generation has so believed thy covenants as Jacob? What generation has so believed thy covenants as Jacob? And yet their reward appeareth not, and their labor have no fruit. Right now, before this truth, even right now, everybody calling brothers crazy, conspiracy theorists. What does it say? And yet their reward appeareth not. Because everybody's carnally minded, Romans 8, verse 6. Everybody's carnally minded. Only the spiritual people with spiritual eye can see this. And yet their reward appeareth not, and their labor hath no fruit. For I have gone here and there through the heathen, and I see that they flow in wealth, the heathen flow in wealth, and think not upon thy commandments, or it's given to the hand of wicked. They think not upon the commandments. The heathen flow in wealth. Weigh thou therefore our wickedness now in the balance. It's all about balance. And there's also that dwell in the world, and so shall thy name nowhere be found but in Israel. 35. Or when was it that they which dwell upon the earth have not sinned in thy sight? When was it that that they that dwell upon the earth have not sinned in thy sight? Or what people have so kept thy commandments? Who's the only ones that ever kept the commandments? The Israelites. You know, of course you had, you know, Israelites in the Gentile state, you know, Israelites going off. But it's like I say, you know, thou shalt find that Israel by name hath kept thy precepts, but not the heathen. Israel by name hath kept thy precepts, but not the heathen. Romans 8 verse 16, man. And again, you know, so Esau, we all know this one. Esau lived by sword, right? He lived by sword. He lived by sword. This is what he's got coming. Revelation chapter 13, verse 9. If any man have an ear, let him hear. Verse 10. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with a sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. I want to talk about Daniel. You know, Daniel being an Israelite, being a prophet, being, you know, righteous, you know, to an extent because he's Israel, right? So, let's say he's going to rest, you know. He's going to rest after all them days, you know, the Lord numbered his days. He's going to rest, and he's going to be back in his lot at the end, just like the other prophets. Be back in their lot at the end. Let me get this precept real quick. Ecclesiasticus chapter 25 verse 7. There be 9 things which I have judged in my heart to be happy, and the 10th I utter with my tongue. A man that has joy of his children, and he that liveth to see the fall of his enemy. He that liveth to see the fall of his enemy. So, hey man, wicked, Esau, Edom, the heathen nations join hand in hand with the wicked. Do your thing, live it up, because, you know, we ain't warring against the flesh. Well, say we wrestle not against the flesh, but against Salakia. Ephesians chapter 6 verse 12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. You know? And it goes on, you know. I'll read it to verse 17. Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of the Most High, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, you know, time of trouble like never before. And having done all to stand, stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, with this truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all things, taking the shield of faith. Taking the shield of faith. Wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked. And take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit. The sword of the Spirit, which is the word of the Most High. The word of YAHAWAH. The word of YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM. Praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, and watching thereunto with all perseverance and supplication for all saints. And you can read rest of that Ephesians chapter 6, you know, read it to the end. But for time's sake, Where was I? So I'm right here. This ain't part of it, but I'm right here. I'm going to get this. Hosea chapter 4, verse 6. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me. Seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy power, of the Most High God, I'll also forget thy children. So now we're going to get John chapter 3, verse 16. John chapter 3, verse 16. Here we go. You know, all you so-called Christian preachers with your John 3:16 doctrine and your First John chapter 4 verse 2 and whatever other 5 or 10 you got. I'm about to get it. Ready? John chapter 3 verse 16. For the Most High, YAHAWAH, which the world calls God, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, YAHAWASHI, which the world entity calls Jesus, that whosoever believeth in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. Okay? Okay. And I'm going to get 17 just for edification's sake. For the Most High sent not his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved. So, let's get a precept to that. Let's get, what are they talking about? The world. Let's get a precept. Isaiah 45:17. Isaiah 45:17. Let's get a precept. Who are they talking about? The world. Because we're talking about the wicked and the righteous all along. So if one's the father, if John 8:44, if some are their father the devil, you think YAHAWASHI, he's telling them you are their father the devil. You think he's going to die for them? You think he's going to die for them? He's telling them you are the father of your devil. You think he's going to die for them? Let's find out. Let's see what Isaiah 45 has to offer. How can we understand this a little better? Isaiah chapter 45, verse 17. I shall start at verse 15. Isaiah 45, verse 15. Verily, thou art a God that hidest thyself, O God, Most High God of Israel, the Savior. Verse 16. They shall be ashamed and also confounded, all of them. They shall go to confusion together that are makers of idols. Verse 17. But Israel, but Jacob, but Israel, not the world. It's going to tell you what the world is. But Israel shall be saved in the Lord, YAHAWAH, YAHAWASHI, with an everlasting salvation. Ye, talking about Israel, shall not be ashamed nor confounded, world without end. World without end. Israel. So, when you go to John 3:16, for God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him should not perish but have everlasting life. Okay, YAHAWASHI, that was said. But then you go to John 8:44, and what did he say? They didn't know Yahweh. They didn't know Yahweh sent YAHAWASHI. They called him a devil. What he said though, ye are the father, ye are of your father the devil. And the lust of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning. He abode not in truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. The earth is given to the hand of the wicked. He covered the face of the judges thereof. Not where, who is he? What does it say, Revelation 1:14? It tells you how the Son of Man is going to return, how he looks. He said, verse 14, his head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were a flame of fire, and his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace, and his voice as the sound of many waters. So let me get this right. He had white hair like unto wool, like a sheep, like a brother, right? And then it says his feet were onto fine brass, as if it was burned in the fire. Well, how the hell you get Caesar Borgia, white Jesus, long hair hippie boy? How do you get that with that right there? What they say, what these preachers in these churches say, oh, revelation ain't meant to be understood. No, revelation means reveal. It's a revelation of what's the end time. And it talks about World War I, talks about World War II, it talks about all that crap. You go into the locust. What John seeing the locust? That's them planes. That's them Japs. Kamikaze and shit. They didn't have no planes back then. They thought the so-called UFO, the Holy Chariots, was a flying roll, was a wheel within a wheel. So of course they're gonna think he's having a vision. When he sees a little plane, he's gonna call it a locust because it's making a sound. And what does it say about the locust? You know what I mean? We don't have to get into it. And when you hear, so I listen to Brother GMS, elders on down, and there's an order to things. You hear these elders, breaking down Revelations when you ain't heard nobody else breaking down Revelations, and they calling, linking up the locusts with them little, Jap kamikaze planes, and it fucking just rings a bell. That's because the Spirit's dealing with you. You know what I mean? But you would never thought of it. I never would have thought of that. I probably ain't even read it. I tried to read some Revelation before. You know what I mean? Unless you have, a man with the Spirit already on him, working with them. That wake up. That's how we're waking up the hopeful elect. You know what I mean? The elect. Lord willing, we're that hopeful number. But you can tell this to millions of people. How many gonna get it? 144,000 and a third. You know what I mean? That's over here in Babylon, a third is gonna be saved. And 2/3 of Israel and Babylon are gonna be destroyed, along with all this land and many Edomites, many heathens. There's gonna be a fucking lot of destruction, man. So you start when them ICBMs fly, them chariots cover the sky. Was so that's another one. Malachi, I had that one wrote down. Yeah, let me stay in order real quick. I'll get down. So I got down, wrote down. I was about to get Malachi 1:4, but I got Romans chapter 9, verse 13 before that. So Romans chapter 9, verse 13. Romans chapter 9, verse 13. As it is written, Jacob have I. So this is a New Testament. Romans chapter 9, verse 13. As is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. But God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son. You know what I mean? Hey, what it say? 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 4. 4, verse 3 and 4. 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 3 and 4. Malachi. Malachi. Malachi chapter 1, verse 4. You start at verse 1, but I'm just going to get 4 for time's sake. Actually, I'll go ahead and start at verse 1. The burden of the word of the Lord to Israel by Malachi. Verse 2. I have loved you, saith the Lord. Yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau's Jacob brother, saith the Lord? Yet I loved Jacob. Yet the Lord loved Jacob. He loved Israel. And I hated Esau, again, cutting him up, and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places again, which they done. You know, look at America over here. You know, every time these devils get destroyed, they keep coming back. They keep oppressing us, but hey, it's because we keep going off. You know, it's stiff-necked people. They shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call Esau, the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord hath indignation forever. Forever. No, he's not. Lord. See, Christian preacher, tell him that. What are you gonna say about John 3:16 then? This is, you know what I mean? The Lord will not have indignation on him forever. The Lord don't change. YAHAWAH BAHASHAM don't change. The Lord is a man of war. He loves Israel. Look at all the fucking hell he put them through. Look at all the hell he put us through. You know? Everybody catching his own. But hell, we don't know. We could have been, you know, we could have been marked off many a times. We could be the prophets from old. Who knows what? But you see you see how they done. You see how they done, you know, Israel. But if we're not like that 2nd Ezra 7, you know what I mean? A dangerous place set thereof. We're becoming worthy of our reward, Lord, when we are that number, by being tried by the fire. You know, and all praise, honor, and glory, YAHAWAH BAHASHAM, QADASH, you know, because, man, it's a beautiful thing. It's gonna be a little lengthy video, but hey, it's gotta come out, man. I was at work today and I just had a little downtime, so I just kind of drew up this little lesson, you know, through the Spirit, man. The Spirit was on me heavy, you know. YAHAWAH BAHASHAM, RACWAA, man. That RACWAA, the Spirit was on me. It's not me. What it says, it's not the flesh, it's the Spirit that quickened us. You know, we gotta remain humble. You know, a lot of these, what the brothers always bringing that out. You know, with I don't want to butcher it, but I probably will. With increased knowledge comes, you know, pride puffeth up, and roughly paraphrasing. You know, let me try to get this, and then I'll get to that here, and try to find that here in a little bit. So this is Genesis chapter 13, verse 13. Abram, which is, Abraham, but Abram, before his name was called Abraham, dwelled in the land of Canaan, and Lot dwelled in the cities of the plain, and pitched his tent toward Sodom. But the men of Sodom were wicked and sinners before the Lord exceedingly. And the Lord said unto Abram, after that Lot was separated from him, lift up now thy eyes and look from the place where thou art northward and southward and eastward and westward. For all the land which thou seest, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed forever. For all the land which thou seest will I give it, and to thy seed forever. Verse 16, and I will make thy seed as the dust of the earth, so that if a man can number the dust of the earth, then shall thy seed also be numbered. What's the Israelite, the sand of the sea? We have to paraphrase him. Arise, walk. So I was supposed to get I was supposed to stop at 15. I kept reading. There was a point somewhere in here. Maybe I'll find it here in a second. There's a point on here that's talking about Salakia. I'll come back to that if I can. Maybe I didn't write it down, but here's for edification's sake, Genesis chapter 17, verse 4. Actually, I'm gonna start verse 2. And Abram fell on his face, and the Most High talked with him, saying, as for me, behold, my covenant is with thee, with Abraham, father of Isaac, and thou shalt be a father of many nations. Verse 5, neither shall thy name any more be called Abram, but thy name shall be called Abraham, for a father of many nations have I made thee. But I can't find that. Maybe it's in one of these other ones. Let's see. James chapter 2, verse 19. So this is James chapter 2, verse 19. This is another cut to the plantation Christian churches. Anyone who's bringing out that First John chapter 4 verse 2. Thou believest there is one God, there is one Most High God, YAHAWAH, thou doest well. The devils also believe and they tremble. You know what I mean? Salaki, I'm sorry, the spirit on me though, I gotta humble down. But man, when you ain't felt the spirit working with you for a while, and then it's on you, man, it's a beautiful thing, Lord, YAHAWASHI, man. But I'm about to end up here, I think. Revelation, let me get this. Revelation chapter 11, verse 8. And their dead bodies shall lie in the streets of the great city, which spiritually called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified. So spiritual Sodom and Egypt, America, Babylon the Great. How is our Lord YAHAWASHI crucified over here? Because they painted white Jesus. They put up Caesar Borgia. as the Messiah. What does it say? Job 9:24. Earth's given to the hand of wicked. He covered the faces thereof. He covered the faces thereof. If not wearing, who is he? Who live by the sword? Whose blessing is the fatness of the earth, and he should live by the sword. Isaiah 63 verse 1. Isaiah 63 verse 1. When the Lord returned, who's he going to return to? Isaiah 63 verse 1. Who is that cometh from Edom with thy garments from Basra? This that is glorious in his apparel, traveling in the greatness of his strength. I speak in righteousness, mighty to save. YAHAWASHI. He coming from Edom, because Edom's going to be in power. And it goes on down, Wherefore art thou red and not pure, and thou garments like him that treadeth the wine fat. Verse 3, I tread in the winepress alone, and of the people there was none with me. For I will tread them in my anger, and trample them in my fury, and their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garments, and I will stain all my remnant. Verse 4, for the day of vengeance is in my heart, and the year my redeemed is come. Whoo! And I looked, and there was none to help, and I wondered that there was none to uphold. Therefore my own arm brought salvation unto me, and my fury it upheld me. And I will tread down the people in my anger, and make them drink in my fury, and I will bring down their strength to the earth. That's right. This verse 7, I will mention the loving kindness of the Lord, and the praises of the Lord, according to all that the Lord hath bestowed on us, and the great goodness toward the house of Israel. There's that love. The house of Israel. Reading again, Isaiah 63, verse 7. I will mention the loving kindness of the Lord YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, and the praises of the Lord, according to all that the Lord hath bestowed on us, and great goodness toward the house of Israel, which he hath bestowed on them according to his mercies, and according to the multitude of his loving kindness. Verse 8, for he said, surely they are my people, children that will not lie. So he was their Savior. In their affliction, he was afflicted. In our affliction, him putting us, YAHAWAH, putting us through this punishment, it afflicted him. Seeing the wicked, how they done the children of Israel, inflicted the Most High, inflicted YAHAWASHI too. Yahweh and YAHAWASHI. In their affliction he was afflicted, and the angel of his presence saved them. In his love and in his pity he redeemed them, and he bare them and carried them all the days of old. But they rebelled and vexed his Holy Spirit. Therefore he was turned to be their enemy. He fought against them. Then he remembered the days of old, Moses and his people, saying, Where is he that brought them out of the sea with the shepherd of his flock? Where is he that put the Holy Spirit within him, that led by the right hand of Moses with the glorious arm, dividing the water before them, to make himself an everlasting name, that led them through the deep as a horse in the wilderness, that they should not stumble? As a beast goeth down to the valley, the Spirit of the Lord caused him to rest. So didst thou lead thy people to make thyself a glorious name. It's verse 16. Doubtless thou art our father, though Abraham be ignorant of us, and Israel acknowledge us not. Thou, O Lord, art our Father, our Redeemer, Thy name is from everlasting. O Lord, why hast thou made us to err from thy ways, and hardened our heart from thy fear? Return for thy servant's sake the tribes of thy inheritance. The tribes of thy inheritance. Alright. So back to Revelation 11:18. And this is Revelation 11:18. And the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come, and the time of the dead, that thou shalt be judged. Who's dead? The spiritually dead 2/3. And the Lord willing, we have that hopeful number, that 1/3. That they should be judged, and that thou shouldest give reward unto the servants, the prophets, and to the saints, and them that fear thy name, small and great, and shouldest destroy them which destroy the earth. Who destroy the earth? The wicked. You're going to destroy them. Destroying the dead out of Israel, and he's going to destroy those who destroy the earth. Who's the earth been given to? The earth's given to the hand of the wicked. So obviously they're in control of everything. 2 Corinthians 4:4. The God of this world have blinded them. Who's the God of this world? The wicked. Who destroyed the earth? Who has control of the earth? The wicked. What does it say? And shouldest destroy them which destroy the earth. And I'm gonna get that Revelation 21. It's like 22 verse 11. I'm gonna end with this. He that is unjust, let him be unjust still. He which is filthy, let him be filthy still. He that is righteous, let him be righteous still. And he that is holy, let him be holy still. And behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me. To every man according to his work shall be. It says, verse 13, I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last. Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life, and may enter through the gates into the city. And right here, right here in Revelation 22:16, just kills that. Many verses, throughout the Bible, but just the easy one for all these Virgin Mary people. What it say? I, YAHAWASHI, has sent my angel to testify unto you these things. The angel was testifying to John these things. These things in the churches. I am the root. The root, what's a root? The root's the start of something, right? The root. I am the root and the offspring. Where did it all start with? Adam. It started with Yahweh. He created YAHAWASHI. But again, what's the first? The first spirit was put on Adam. He breathed that life into him. Reading it again. Revelation chapter 22, verse 16. I, YAHAWASHI, has sent my angel to testify unto you these things in the churches. Alright? And we ain't talking about no plantation Christian church. This is back in John's days. They didn't worship in the buildings. You know what I mean? I am the root and the offspring of David, and the bright and morning star. How can you be the root and the offspring? Because he's got the power. Salakia. Woo! Come on, baby. All praise YAHAWASHI Malachi. And for these other camps that don't say the name, man. Whoo! Hey, they ain't got it, brother. They ain't got it. But maybe they let that pride down, you know. Call on the elders, you know, GMS, you know. You know, say Salakia, Tar, what do they say? You're not a moron, y'all ain't morons. It's like, hey, brother. God. Oh, man. Whew. All right, with that, brothers, sisters, you know, I hope it's an edifying lesson, you know, through the spirit, power, YAHAWASHI Malachi. Because like I said, my spirit was on me heavy this morning. I drew up a little lesson. I try to bring it out according to, you know, I had some interruptions, you know, but, man, you know, all praises, honor, and glory, Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, RACWAA, QADASH. You know, call halal, yom, Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, RACWAA, QADASH. You know, a Bible ball, Kwam Yashala, Shalom.